So there's so many things skateboarding will teach you, regardless if you're skating the fundamentals or not. But like I mentioned before, getting a strong foundation with the fundamental tricks, such as 50-50s, ollies, 180s, kickflips, drop-ins, roll-ins, stuff like that, is always going to strengthen that foundation and help you understand how to be comfortable on the board, and also just be confident with your approach to skateboarding. So today we're going to focus on doing 50-50s, frontside and backsides, and talking about how you can approach progressing them by getting a little uncomfortable and just challenging yourself. We're going to be exploring different areas or different obstacles of the park and seeing how we can improve our 50-50s, right? And this will give you ideas on how you can improve your own, right? So there's different sizes. There's a little curb, there's a ledge that goes up, there's a medium-sized ledge, and then a box right there. So we're gonna do 50s front, side, and back on all of them. Maybe we can do a line. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna do 5, and then we're gonna talk. Okay. I'm gonna start with backside 50. Oh. Thanks, bro. How's it going? All right, so what I learned right there was you can't underestimate anything.
Oh my god, that could have been bad.
Hey, dude, this curve just doesn't like anyone today.
He just felt a similar way.
Fuck, just peeled this shit up.
Oh. He peeled his skin.
Okay, we're still gonna do 5 for the
Oh my god. Oh my god. Damn.
one. Okay, that was a good challenge. That humbled me so much. Okay, like I said, the stronger you get your foundation, which is most of the time comprised of fundamental tricks like a backside 50-50, the better you're gonna understand how to navigate skateboarding, how to control it, and just be confident. So I can't believe I felt like that. So what that taught me was that I have to make sure that I'm engaging no matter how low or high the ledge is, the obstacle is, right? Sometimes when we're skating something small, we underestimate it and we don't really make sure we're centered over the right way. We don't really feel the need to secure our approach and even how we get on. Right there, I overshot, and that was mostly because the way I rolled into the 50 wasn't very parallel and controlled. So what that taught me is that I need to make sure or what that reinforced, I should say, but it can teach you, is you need to make sure you're approaching the obstacle in a fairly parallel manner. When it comes down to doing backside 50-50s on quarter pipes, it's slightly different approach, but regardless, you have to make sure that you know where you're going, right? If you don't know where you're going and then you're popping with a very, how would I say this, with a very unstable approach, which that was, it's gonna be more likely to, you know, just have unfavorable outcomes like that fall, right? And so we want to respect each obstacle and make sure we approach it with it in a way that's gonna prioritize stability and stability. I'm just stuck on the fact that I fell on that. Okay, so we're gonna do frontside 50-50, and again talk about, you know, not what's different from the front side and backside, but what else doing 50-50s teaches you, right? So frontside 50-50s this time. I'm like, do I even try it there? That's 3, 4. One more. 5. Okay. Something that was reinforced for me, what you can learn is that with 50-50s, like many other tricks, you gotta make sure you're centered over that lead foot. And you need to make sure you understand what foot you're trying to stabilize over. For a 50-50, most of the time, if you're just going in your regular stance, it's gonna be the lead foot. For me, as I get onto the back 50-50 and the front 50-50, you feel, or what you should feel, is a lot of tension going on this left foot, right? It's important that you're not with your toes hanging off, but instead your foot is all the way inside, so that as you apply pressure, your board wants to lock in, right? Instead of, if your toes are hanging off, you apply pressure, it's gonna be a bit more likely to slip out, right? Super important. And that reinforces how you can be stable on the grind itself, not just with a fundamental trick like a 50-50, but like with tricks like crooks, you know, 5 bows, back tails, nose grinds, other tricks like that, right? So having said that, we're going to try to think what other thing. Oh, it's because it's kind of busy. It's kind of busy right now. It just got busy all of a sudden, right?
Yeah. I could stay at one place and you just.
Okay, so I'm thinking. Okay, let's actually just have a conversation on 50s. I don't want to be party pooper of this session. Skate park etiquette, we gotta respect it. What I will say when it comes down to doing 50-50s and what it can teach you,
What has it taught?
What it has taught me is what I've mentioned. You know, being stable, approaching it the right way. When you are doing a 50-50, it's important that your body is focused on the direction it wants to end, right? So you saw when I did the 50-50 on this top ledge, you know, there's a bottom and top. On that top ledge, I got off early, and part of that was because I wasn't going fast enough to make it all the way. I was going to slow down. But in the case I went a bit faster, it's important that I feel comfortable turning my shoulder in and out so that I can direct myself to where I want to end, right? This helps so much because it just gives you a bit more precision with where you want to go, and it's gonna have you feeling a lot more confident when you transition or when you go to different skate parks and you see slightly different variations of the same obstacles or completely new ones, such as handrails, flat bars, you know, ledges that have a weird angle to it, a curve, you know, they maybe starts one direction and then ends the other. There's a lot of different variations in obstacles, but the application is very similar, and getting better at 50-50s and understanding how you can control the 50 even with more speed or at slow speeds, it's really going to benefit you in applying the same trick in other skate parks, other obstacles, but also doing other tricks like I've mentioned already, the more difficult ones. The biggest, not the biggest, I'm exaggerating, but a big setback for me was not really getting comfortable with backside and frontside 50-50s. Instead, as soon as I learned Smiths, 5-0s, nose grinds, crooks, back tails. Actually, I didn't learn back tails until later. But as soon as I learned other tricks, I kind of ignored 50-50s when, if I were to go back in time and I could tell myself, how to warm up a bit more effectively, I would have definitely mentioned give some time to 50-50s, right? Because it's going to have you understanding what gets you onto the ledge or the obstacle with precision. Sometimes when we do a crook or a 5-0, we're just thinking, only half of our body needs to get on there, but that's not the case. Your whole body has to be centered directly over that obstacle so that you have maximum control over what trick you want to do. So let's say, you progress to the point where you want to hold a 5-0 to all the way. If you're centered over, you can also decide to add a variation and turn it or pinch it or do as you wish. Have fun with it, right? I understand some of us may not have those ambitions to do many other different tricks, so it might seem pointless to perfect them, but it's not only about doing more tricks or more advanced ones. It has to also do with being safe, being confident, and understanding where your body weight needs to be, because skateboarding is very repetitive in the sense where there's patterns that are going to show up when you're skating any obstacle, right? Such as staying open to the direction you're going, staying centered over that lead foot, staying engaged, and things like that. So regardless if you're learning these things on a 50 or not, if you're learning this on a 50, or let's say an ollie, you'll be able to apply it a bit more subconsciously and just improve that comfort and confidence on your board. But what I'm trying to think what else I can mention. The part kind of died out.
We'll do a 50-50 on
Okay, so I talked about how to do the 50-50 and direct yourself the way you want to. So on this 50-50, the intention is going to be to do a 50-50 and just go straight off towards the center instead of going front side, right? So just go in front of that ledge.
Okay.
So
the top one or the little one?
Top one.
Let's see. Think first try. First try.
So my left shoulder,
10%.
10%. My left shoulder had to come in, and that's something you learn as you get uncomfortable doing a very simple trick. In this case, a 50-50. Obviously, it's relative to your skill level and stuff like that, but for the most part, in my context, that's a simple trick. But even doing that simple trick over and over again has me learning things like how to change, slightly shift my body weight, slightly shift my posture, so I can have control over where I want to end, where I want to roll away, or how I want to roll away. Having said that, hope you got something out of refining your fundamentals so that your foundation is strong enough or stronger, and that way you have confidence and comfort throughout your skating in other applications, right? Not just ledges.
You think you could bike 50-50 the whole thing?
The whole thing? What? Oh yeah.
And they ended like that?
Yeah.
Go. It might die, so just
Alright.
just keep going.
Peace out, guys.
No, do it. Do it.
Okay.
One more time. Oh.
Let's go with it. Over here, Charles.
What?
If you're interested in lessons or coaching, hit me up at profe.carlos on Instagram, and we'll talk about what that looks like for you. Peace out.